We are back for another episode of Wed Talks, and I'm so excited to have Kate and Kimmy of Kate & Co. here with us. I'm going to let them give a little introduction. If you're local to the Midwest, I'm sure you have heard of Kate & Company. They do amazing things. They produce some awesome events. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hey.
Hi.
I am Kate Turner. I am the founder and creative director of Kate & Company, which I started in 2012 after several years in corporate event planning world. So I've been at this for 16 years, and I've had my wing woman here for what? 10?
10 year. We just had our 10-year anniversary
That's
together.
Information I should probably know.
Crazy.
I'm a really good boss. Come work for me.
And I have been with Kate for 10 years now. I'm the executive director at Kate & Company. And came fresh out of college. I stalked her for a few months and begged for a job. And here we are 10 years later.
She wore me down.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I let her organize inventory in my basement. I was like, God, this girl keeps emailing me. I really can't say no because she's so nice, but like I don't have anything to do. And like most decisions in my business, like she came and she did a great job. And I was like, shit, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
You cuss.
I was like, gosh darn, I have to hire this person. So now I have to make a job for her.
And now, couldn't imagine life without her, I'm sure.
No way.
If you know them, they are like the yin to the yangs. Like yes.
I tried to plan her wedding without her, and I was like, dude, you need
She
a
crushed
Kimmy.
it.
Thanks. I was like, I need a Kimmy. I don't understand.
Well, and we'll touch on this later, but from a business perspective, Kate seems to be like the creative. She kind of comes up with all the fun ideas, the stuff you see on Instagram that we know and love. And then Kimmy is figuring out like how to actually make that stuff happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
I always say she dreams it, and then I figure out how to make that dream come to life.
Yes.
So is there ever a time where she comes up with something like totally out there that you have to like put your foot down and say, Kate, we cannot do this. It's actually impossible.
It's never impossible.
It just takes money.
Yeah. Or
Right? You can do
time.
anything you want. It just
Exactly.
costs money.
Yeah.
That is
I actually
true.
sometimes love when it's like totally out of the box because then I love the challenge. We get to create something new.
But yeah, to answer your question, yes. Like I found the most perfect napkin ever that I really wanted for a wedding. And she came back and she was like, Kate, I'm not pitching a $35 napkin to this couple. And I was like,
It was beautiful.
But
I will give her
why?
that. But like I have to give that budget to the dad. And I was like, he's just not going to love that.
No. So
she did find me an alternative though.
I
I,
did.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that does happen.
So do you have to tell your clients like specifics? Because did anybody just give you a decor budget and they're like, do with it as you will?
Yeah, we just had that. Our most recent wedding at Old Warson, we were able to surprise them with most of the day of pieces.
So fun.
As long as we stayed within a budget range. And it was really, really fun.
So then it's up to you if you want to spend money on the 35.
Yeah, and so I
Totally.
think
Exactly.
there are pieces of the wedding that are worth investing in, and there's pieces that are not. I think we approach weddings very much how I approach life. Like I'm a high-low buyer. Same with my house. Same with my clothes. Like this is a very inexpensive dress, and I have on Gucci shoes. Like that's how I approach
Good yin and yang.
yin and
Good
yang.
mix.
So that's how we approach our weddings as well. Like there are areas that are worth investing in, and then there are areas that's going to look the same whether you go with the expensive version or the inexpensive version. And so maybe we rob Peter to pay Paul, so you can get this expensive thing and the look doesn't change. And I
Yeah.
think that's really important.
And I think that's why the teamwork together does work. That
Works.
Teamwork works. It does. But we might try to get that napkin for the head table, the really expensive one, but then do maybe an inexpensive one for the rest of the table.
Yeah.
And then it's a memento for the bride and groom. They get to keep it.
Yeah.
So kind of finding the balance.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you guys know it's photographed. So
Absolutely. I think we made a hugely pivotal change in our business 6 years ago, where I think we were making the same mistakes a lot of planners were making, where we were not placing enough value in our photo video teams. And now I would say it's probably the number one most important vendor for us when in the selection process, because it's the only thing that lasts for that couple. And as much as I love a large floral arrangement or beautiful stationery, like at the end of the day, that goes away. And what they're hanging on their wall is the picture of the two of them at their church or at their venue. And that lives on. That's what their children look at. That's what their grandchildren look like. And I think that we stopped prioritizing an Instagrammable moment and started prioritizing our photo video teams. And that was a huge change in our business.
I love this answer.
I think St. Louis has a lot of incredible talent. We're really lucky, I think. But I believe what makes Kate & Company different is our ability to tackle both the decor and the logistics. I think
100%.
a lot of planners are hugely talented when it comes to the design, but their systems are not up to snuff, or they don't know how to manage the logistics. Or you get a really logistical minded person who could write the best timeline in the whole world, but they don't have a great eye. And I think 10 years ago, I got some advice from my parents, who are both entrepreneurs, that was a little bit like, stop hiring people that are just like you and hire people that their strengths are your weaknesses. And so I think Kate & Company does incredible design work, and I'm very proud of, I think every year my designs get better and better. But we have incredible systems in place to make sure that the logistics are handled really well. And I'm very proud that I think most vendors in St. Louis and the other marketplaces that we've been in would be happy to work with us. We're not burning bridges because we're asking them to do really difficult things. And I'm really proud of that.
Well, that's kind of a good segue to my next question for you.
All right.
So I've tackled this in a previous podcast, but I do love different opinions on it. So what should my clients be looking for in booking their wedding planner? And kind of what's the difference between what you guys do versus someone who's charging, I'm just going to say it, I'm sorry if I'm an asshole, $3,500 to come be a day of coordinator.
Right.
What's the difference between Kate & Company and that?
I think there's no such thing as a day of coordinator. No, if you are paying someone to just show up on the day of, you are setting yourself up to be disappointed. So you either have to prioritize it or not at all. And I think everyone deserves to have a well-planned day, no matter what budget point that you're at. For us, I think it's the service, the concierge approach. We take so much off of our clients' plate because they have full-time jobs. They're entrepreneurs or physicians or teachers or nurses, and their bandwidth is dedicated every single day to what their craft is, and they need somebody who understands the entire, that has, insight into the entire day. So you sort of need the conductor of the orchestra, as it were. And then somebody managing the person who's in charge of the venue, the person that's in charge of the photo and video, the person that's in charge of the stationery and the florals and things like that, but has the purview to see how everything's going to come together. I think that most likely somebody who's charging $3,500 either has like a list of people that they're just regurgitating for this. They're just pushing out the same event over and over again, or they're going to Facebook and just shopping their clients around, right? They're posting, hey, I have a client, getting married September 9th, 2024, who's available, and then sending their clients that list. We're vetting our vendors hugely. So when we make a recommendation, first, it comes with that Kate & Company stamp of approval. Like, we trust this person. And second, we've had many pre-qualifying vetting conversations to make sure. Because for us, it's not just about, is that person available, but it's about matching the budget with the aesthetics, with the personality. I think who I would recommend from a venue, from a photographer, from a band for a type A bride is very different from a type B bride. So what we want to try to get is that insight into, do our couples make decisions quickly, or are they really slow? Are they methodical with it? Do they lead with emotion, or do they lead with fact? Because the type of vendors we're recommending in those different scenarios, essentially 4 different scenarios, are very different. And for us, it's not just regurgitating that same list over and over and over again.
Yeah, and we're starting from the beginning, getting to know our couples and the other decision makers, most of the time mom and dad, of how they do make decisions, to that point that every single one of our couples or weddings that we work on, or events, it is always a different set of recommendations of vendors for that exact reason.
Well, and I think something that a normal person, just because they don't know, they don't have the knowledge, they don't realize that you guys pick vendors who do work together often.
Absolutely.
And it is such a team effort on a wedding day. So you might pick like one set of vendors for one wedding, but a totally different set for another wedding. But they all usually work together.
Absolutely. I mean, we're sitting here in your beautiful venue, and I think that the aesthetics here are incredible. The band that I would bring out here, the photographer I would bring out here is probably different than the band I would take to the Ritz-Carlton or the photographer I would take, because the lighting is different, the aesthetics are different, how we're going to plan and design the event is different. Both incredibly beautiful, but you can't copy and paste the same event over and over again, or your entire portfolio will look the same. All of your couples are going to have the exact same wedding. And with the rise in social media these days, couples want their wedding to be the next thing that people are looking at. They don't want to copy what somebody else has done.
Yeah. Social media, it's a blessing and it's a curse.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
Even personally, like even just as a mom or, just normal things. But sometimes you just want to get back to the root of like, what's the purpose of the wedding?
Absolutely.
And I think at the core, we definitely still strive. That is our number one. At the end of the day, we are getting two people married. We're helping them walk down that aisle, exchange their vows together, and start a life together. And I think at the end of the day, that's first and foremost number one for us. And then, we've formed a relationship with them. So then we do their baby shower, and then we do dad's retirement party. And we're forming those relationships from the beginning.
A Kate and Co baby shower, though.
Yes.
A really cool baby
We
shower.
just had the most beautiful baby shower, and it was so fun because the family's a legacy client of ours. One daughter got married a few years ago. The next daughter was in the process of getting married, and the sister got pregnant. And so the baby shower was like 3 weeks after the second sister's wedding. And so mom was just like, here's a check.
Do it.
I don't care what it looks like. I don't care. And I was like, okay, great. Here's your theme. Also, I need you to move to a different venue because I have a wedding that day. And if you want me to execute, I need everything in the same place. She was like, okay, sounds good. Just let me know what I owe you.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
I love you. She just moved to Florida, unfortunately. So I guess I'm going to have to open a Florida shop because they're just a great family to work for.
I'm sure there's plenty of cool places in Florida you guys can do an event.
Guess I have to go to Naples. Shoot.
Darn.
Okay, so we're going to make this a little fun and lighthearted.
Oh.
So I'm going to throw some wedding, I wouldn't say trends, some wedding traditions at you, or just different, things that people ask us here.
All right.
So you're
And I
asking for honesty.
Yeah, hot take.
Okay.
Okay. So first up, should dates be seated at the head table?
Absolutely.
1000%.
I mean, would you want to go to a wedding and have your husband seated like halfway across the room?
And a lot of times, I feel like since it is a mesh of people throughout the years of their life, they might not know the other dates too.
Yeah.
Like I have been like a plus one once, and I like literally only knew one other girl at a table of 10. So I was just like, hey.
Hello.
Well, what about the
Let me
flip
eat in
side of
silence.
that? What if they really don't like, Joe's new girlfriend that's been in and out of the picture, and they don't want her in all of their photos for the evening?
Well, they shouldn't be in photos.
Yeah, I mean,
Like wedding party pictures.
Well, but I mean, head table is photographed during the reception, toast.
yeah.
Because that is the biggest thing I hear is, I don't really want these people in the pictures, but I feel bad. I feel like I need to have them sit up there.
we
with their
also
date.
hear a lot of like, but then I can't control what they're wearing. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Because they are in pictures.
Yes. I probably shouldn't say this to a former photographer, still a photographer, incredible, but at the end of the day, the photos you're hanging on your wall are not going to be the ones of you laughing at your head table. Those are incredible photographs to tell the story. They end up in your album and it's great. But like the memories that you're looking at, you're not going to look at that picture and be like, oh, I hate Joe's wife.
It's
like,
not
why is she in
artwork
the
on the wall.
No.
Well, and at the
You're
end
gonna
of
laugh
the day,
about
like it's the smallest thing.
Yeah, who
In my
cares?
opinion. Like
Some things you just have to just let go.
exactly.
And just make it be a fun event.
There are fights worth fighting and there are hills to die on. And to me, that's just not one of them.
Yeah.
If it's I think far too many things in the event planning process make your friends' lives more difficult. And I think I would love to see couples make the wedding party's life just a little bit more easier.
Yeah.
Because I was just on a road trip with a bunch of girlfriends, and the consensus among every single one of them 100% was, if I'm never a bridesmaid again, it will be too soon. Everyone hates being a bridesmaid because it's gotten too out of control. One of them was telling me she is spending over $5,000 to go to a bachelorette party.
The trips. They need
It's
to
insane.
stop.
Yeah.
And then the dress, and then the travel for the wedding, and then the hair and makeup. And it's gotten to be too much. And I would just love to see couples, this isn't what you asked me, but I would love to see them prioritize, just like make it easy to be in your wedding party.
Or how about like Remember like the old fashioned rule? And again, I may get crucified for saying this, but like you remember when people would say, oh, you know, if you're going to a party at someone's house, the host should provide the drinks.
Yes.
Like I'm not a BYOB person. If you're hosting an event, and I think same goes for our bachelorette party. If you're rich and you want to have a baller bachelorette party and invite all your girls out and pay for a house and pay for their airfare, I think cool.
Yeah.
But to expect them to pay, I mean, a lot of these girls it's their first job. You know, they have no time off, and then they have to spend $1,500 to $2,000 on a bachelorette.
I spend like $3,000 to be in a wedding for the last. I mean,
it's expensive.
I've been in like 6 in the last like 8 years, and it's a lot.
I was just talking to a friend who said like in the last year that she was in a wedding party, she spent upwards of $10,000 for all of the events that she was in. And
especially
you think
with
about
travel,
somebody
too.
straight out of college who's making $40,000, $50,000 a year. Like
a lot of money.
I mean, like that's
a Chanel bag.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yes.
would you rather be a bridesmaid or have the Chanel bag? Let's be honest. I think the best thing Kimberly Klipsch, now Gaynor, did for me was not ask me to be her bridesmaid because her wedding was the most fun. I was like adjacent to the wedding party. So I got the hair and makeup and I got to do the fun stuff, but I got to pick my dress and I didn't have to go to a bachelorette party. I didn't have to like do a shower. I love you so much.
Oh, same.
And I would have happily done it. But I think you did a really good job of prioritizing like your bridesmaids and what they went. And I'd love to see
It was
like
very
more people.
important to me. Like we paid for all their hair and makeup. They got to choose their own dress. It was just black, long.
Yeah.
So I have a friend and she's like, I have been dying for this black dress. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to spend $400. And I have one that literally got it like from Shein or Lulu's like 3 weeks prior for like $40. And it's like things like that. It's just important to, and the whole weekend, like take care of them because you are hosting them.
Friends.
Like they did not pay for one meal from Thursday to Sunday. Like they shouldn't.
I also think, hot take, here we go. What are you going to buy your friends for $20 to propose to them? I hate that. I hate bridesmaid proposal. I hate the word. I hate the phrase. What are you going to buy them for $20 that they wouldn't just go out and buy themselves? So nobody wants a cup that says bridesmaids. Nobody wants a sweatshirt that says your name and monogram on it. Like just spend time.
What would you want then? Say you wanted to ask your bridesmaids, what is a fun idea for somebody?
Well, I'm about 300 years old. So for me,
Stop.
I would love to just go to dinner with my friend. I would rather have the time and the convenience. I'm a convenience person. So like make it easy for me to get a dress, make it easy for me to get my hair and makeup done. I think my two best friends, and look, my two best friends have been my best friends since freshman and sophomore year of college, or two of my best friends at least. And we had a conversation. We were all getting married within the same 2 years. It was like, you're going to be invited to every shower. Do not bring me a gift. Do not buy me a wedding gift. Let's just all support each other by being there. And I thought that was great. And I'm glad that we had that conversation because we all have very different socioeconomic backgrounds. And so what one of us can afford and what the other one can afford is all just different.
And then
so,
it becomes kind of like awkward for, you know.
It does. Yeah. I wish I'd had that conversation with some people.
Yeah. Hindsight's 20/20.
Well, I love that advice.
Yeah.
Okay, another one. Garter and bouquet tosses.
Please no.
Okay, I'm going to pretend like I'm a bride talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
My
gosh.
mom really wants me to do one. I don't want to do it at all, but she's paying for the whole wedding and it's the only thing she's asking me to do. But I really don't want to do it.
Okay, well, now I have two different answers.
Okay.
You absolutely should not do them. They're so silly. But I think if it's the hill your mom's dying on and she's paying for it, it's not a fight worth fighting over. We can come up with a way to make it super fun. I don't know what that way is, but if I have some time to think about it, I probably could make it really fun. I could probably hide you in the corner and pretend like it's not happening. And no one has to know, but your mom is pleased. I don't know.
How about not playing single ladies?
Yes,
Well, I was going to
right?
say that, or also like read the room and make sure you have girls that are single. Because like I've been to a wedding and there was a bouquet toss and there was only 3 single girls. Sorry, that's like awkward for them. Like
I've never thought about that.
no, like you need to make sure you have enough. Like I don't know, those 3 girls probably don't want to be out there by themselves.
Highlight that they're the only 3
Yeah,
single people
like,
at this
you know what I
wedding.
mean? Like,
Or they totally do and they find a man.
and that too, but I don't know. I just like I'm with Kate on like if it's really like gonna cause an issue, like let's find a different solution or a way to do it. But I just get weirded out sometimes when like the groom's like, or a a guy is like down on one knee and like going up the girl's dress in front of like grandpa.
Like getting it off with their teeth.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that's the place. If you're going to have a really nice wedding.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I think like it's your wedding. Like ultimately I'll support whatever you want to do. And so just because it's not right for me doesn't mean it can't be right for you. But I do think it's just a little tacky.
Yeah, agree.
And we're happy to give pros and cons.
So how about, I love that. Yeah. That's why.
We'll give you the good.
But honestly, what I would say to my bride, sorry, can we go back to that question?
Go back.
I would say, let me talk to your mom. And I would probably call the mom and be like, look, Susie, I think that is so fun. And I can probably come up with a way to make it fun. But let me tell you, it's going to add like 35 minutes to the timeline. And the band's going to have to stop, which is going to totally ruin the vibe of the party. Is this something that we can live without? And I would probably be the bad guy to her mom and come up with a reason we can't do it that's not because the bride doesn't want to. That's usually, I will say, I feel like I'm tooting a lot of my own horn on this podcast. I'm so sorry. And I'm not usually that type of person, but one thing I can do is thread the needle between a mother and a daughter pretty well.
Well, that is a big thing.
It is a big thing.
Yeah, like a therapist, but also, making sure both sides are happy. Because at the end of the day, we're working with both of them. Yeah. For the most part, we're usually working with mom and daughter.
And sometimes the couple is not really our client. It's really the parents.
Well, and that's who's paying for it a lot of the time.
A lot of the time.
So you have to appease the parents. Yeah. And, it is kind of their thing too.
Totally.
It's their proud moment. Yep. And I know it is about the bride and groom first and foremost, but
think about most people's parents did not have the type of wedding that their children are having.
Right.
Most people, this has happened from generation to generation to generation. They want their kids to have a better life than they were given. No matter how great their life was, they still want to do something different or better. Yeah. So weddings is a $8 billion industry, and it wasn't 30, 40 years ago. And
even 20 years
most
ago.
of our parents got married in the church basement or at the, Elks Lodge. And so it's
they had
just
a little
like
all-inclusive package.
Yeah.
You picked out
your cake and your
flowers. And it was like one day of wedding planning.
Yeah.
That's what my parents did.
Yeah. It was muscatoli with a carving station. And like they had a great time.
But that was nice back then.
Absolutely.
It's just very different now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is I know I always say this word, but it's a luxury thing. Like having a wedding is a privilege.
Yes.
So, well, especially with social media, it's just everyone's, I feel like, also trying to one up each other.
Yes.
So it's you see more of it. Back in the day when our parents got married, you just thought if you went to a wedding. Nowadays, you're seeing it everywhere.
Yes, totally.
I think there's a difference between a marriage and a wedding. Like you can go down to City Hall and be married tomorrow. So if you want to have a wedding, you don't have to.
No one's forcing you.
No one's forcing you to.
Yeah. Totally.
Maybe your parents are. More than likely, no one's forcing you to.
Okay, let's do one more little question, and then I want to talk about something I've been dying to ask you.
Okay.
So, Friday weddings. How do you feel? Not even just Friday, like weekday weddings. Mm-hmm. COVID kind of changed the game a little bit, at least with us from a venue perspective, because we have a ton of Friday, not so many Sundays. We have some, but more Friday weddings. It's very normal now. So how do you feel about that, and how do guests feel about Friday weddings?
I think most of the destination events that we do are on a weekday, like weddings, because if everyone's traveling, it doesn't matter what day of the week you're getting married. And so we think if you're in a destination, oftentimes there's a cost break to get married on a Tuesday. And if everyone's flying to Mexico, might as well just get married on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So they don't bother me at all. I think you just have to be this is the same with like the bridesmaid thing. You have to be conscious of what you're asking your guests to do.
Yeah.
If you're asking them to take several days off of work,
just make it fruitful. Yeah. Too. Like I feel like we've had a few couples where they did a Friday wedding because they knew for sure Saturday, I think it was Cards Cubs. Yeah. And so they got a box for everyone that invited to the wedding because that was important to them and they wanted to do that. So I think sometimes it's beneficial because you're making it more of a fruitful weekend. For the guests.
Yeah, that's
more fun. We had one did like a field day.
Yeah.
Remember that day on Saturday, like all the guests came, they like rented out a park and they did like a full, like almost like Olympics but with their family and friends.
Yeah, because Sunday, a lot of people do brunches on Sundays, which is fun, but everybody's hungover and
they have to get back
they have to get on a plane.
Yeah, they're kind of ready to go home.
Yeah, Saturday you wake up and you have the whole day. You can just start drinking again.
Totally. So, Saturday fun day.
Yeah, I love it.
Plus, from a vendor perspective, sign me up for Fridays because then I still get Saturday and Sundays with my kids.
Yep.
You
And all of my brides who are still booking fall, they're getting a good pick of vendors. On Friday.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a good selling point.
I think at some point people get just a little too hung up on the date or the day.
It doesn't matter.
I think people who love you will be there.
Totally.
You could get married, on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. And if they love you, they'll be there. Or they'll try everything within their power to support you in that. So I think find the right place and then work on your date.
Yes. Good advice. I love it. All right. Here's my big question.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of two parts.
Do we need a drum roll?
Yeah, drum roll. So if you guys had I'm going to actually give you a budget.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If you had, and I'm not going to make it crazy because I know if you had $1 million, you would make this place look amazing.
Sign me up.
So if you
let's go $1 million. Maybe 2.
If you guys had like a $250,000 budget at Westwind Hills or $300,000, like somewhere in that that range for a 175 to 200 person event. I'm being specific so you know what you're working with here.
Okay.
What would your dream day look like here for a client?
Ooh.
I think that I would do have you ever been to the Restoration Hardware in Chicago?
Pulled a lot of inspo from that place.
What?
No way.
The Restoration Hardware in Chicago, the restaurant there, I would be dying to do here. I think it would be incredible. I think you could do a lot with the florals, like the transition space from the main room to the chandelier room, covering that in a huge floral installation, but doing it kicking it out 6 inches so that those doors still close and we can have a grand reveal. I would get married have the person get married. It's not my wedding. I would get married outside. And I think it would be incredible to do an elevated walkway made out of that light colored wood that you have throughout here. And then a big floral installation. But I would bring the flowers from the ground up because I do think what a mistake I see a lot of designers doing is some sort of huppah structure. And it's cutting off the sightline of the beautiful property that you have here. So coming from the ground up will play better with the sightlines you have here. Invite everybody in for, maybe we'll do cocktails on the patio.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And then do more of maybe a fun experience.
Yes.
Enjoy this view is insane. You can't even pick. I
What
couldn't
about
even dream this
cocktails pre-ceremony?
I'm dying for somebody to do cocktails pre-ceremony.
It doesn't need to be long, but 30, 45 minutes, because everybody gets here late anyway, and then it gives you a buffer and then seating.
And
Do
people-
a one bite with some champagne for 30 minutes. Go to the ceremony. We flip cocktails and we have 4 experiential stations.
Yes.
We're live pulling mozzarella. We're live shucking oysters. We're walking around. We have cocktails to order, and then we come inside for dinner. And if it's the most beautiful night, I throw that band outside and let's party till dawn. Can we party till dawn?
11 p.m. Actually, technically, I think 12.
Can I party till 12?
We can make that work. She said maybe 12. I think we go for it.
For the right amount of money, anything's possible, right? We determined that.
That is true. You two don't have to deal with the neighbors.
So in that case, then we send them care package baskets beforehand and make them happy, or send them to a hotel.
Honestly, they've been great.
Oh, that's good.
Since we got open.
Good. Oh,
I'm so happy.
So, yeah.
Which is usually the case.
Yeah. No, for sure. Everybody's scared of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll save that for another Wed Talks episode, how we got started. But yeah.
I think that would look, I would love to see somebody do a little bit more of a contemporary flair in the space. I think some of the contemporary furniture and sort of like Restoration Hardware meets Miami and somewhere in the middle. And in my head, I can picture exactly what that looks like, but it's really hard to describe.
It's just so funny that you mentioned that restaurant because our chandelier is
it really?
Is that chandelier.
That's incredible.
So yeah,
That's my favorite restaurant of all time.
And then bring in some trees and
I'm
and then we can have a tree and then it's fruit is on the tree. A wishing well with water. We'll bring it. We can make that happen.
I love it.
every guest makes a wish for the couple as they walk outside.
And then we have like trees with like lemons and limes, and then we have a mixologist making their own drinks based on like what the client or the guests.
Yeah, flair bartender.
Yeah.
We have some of those.
Love it. Okay. I think you guys.
So what's the couple's name?
I know. Who wants to sign up for this wedding?
John and Sue. Kimmy's parents' names are John and Sue, so every time I have a pretend couple, they're always John and Sue.
I mean, like standard names and.
I mean, it's more creative than Karen, I guess.
Yeah, Karen.
So how about a tent wedding?
Yeah.
I've had a couple people really be interested in doing a tent here.
Yeah.
So you guys are the queens of the tents. Can you tell me?
We worked really hard to get there, so thank you.
Yeah. What realistically does that involve as far as setup, breakdown? What's the timeline look like? How long do they need to rent the venue for? Kind of give me the lowdown on the tents.
So I think compared to a lot of our competitors, we have certain standards when it comes to tents. I think the beauty of Westwind Hills is your finishes are so spectacular that we would want the tent to match that finishes. So we have certain standards when it comes to the vendor partners that we use and all the finishes, which is going to come at a little bit of a higher price point, but it's going to be a safe tent. It is going to be something you can party until dawn, even though it'll be midnight maybe.
Well, we could do silent disco.
We could do a silent disco. And so I would love to build out something that really looks like an extension of what you have here. It doesn't look like a big plastic tent, but maybe something that's more of like that like greenhouse vibe, like it's finished in the charcoal, like all of the hardware on the tent. It has a really beautiful light wood floor. But anyways, logistics wise is really going to be Kimmy's. We're coming in probably on Monday. Hate to tell you.
I mean, if we're doing like full tent, definitely on Monday. If say you were doing maybe just like a dancing tent, usually for us Wednesday.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
What about an open air tent? So where you have like this ceiling, but it's open front and back, and you're still able to look out at the beautiful scenery, but you're covered if it rains.
Yeah, we can add on walls.
Is that like the same as a clear tent or no?
No, most of the tents we do are clear tops, but open air would be like the two ends are not finished. So like the peaked ends have like no walls.
Yeah, like the poles are still finished.
So this would need to be in the fall, not in July.
Yeah, so you're still getting the breeze through. They're really big in like mountain towns, like to do them that way. So you have the ceiling structure to hang things from or to protect you if it's raining, but open air. Around.
And you would do dinner, or what would you imagine in the tent?
I mean, ideally we love to do it all in a tent, but at the same time, your venue is so beautiful that I would still want guests to experience part of it. So maybe dinner here where, your kitchen's not too far off, but dancing out there in the tent. And I think the one thing we try to do too, not only with experiences, but give your guests kind of movement throughout the night. Don't just like have them show up and stay in the same room for 5 hours. Like, no offense, people just get a little bored.
Well, that's why we designed this
exactly.
way.
Because
they come into the one room, they go out on the veranda for cocktails, and they come back to a different room for reception. It's like an experience. And I think I would love for somebody to do a tent here.
I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is like the tent install.
Right. Because I don't think, sorry to interrupt, but I don't think people understand that while yes, like it's beautiful, like it gets beautiful within the process, the tent does. So when it comes, might just be a structured tent.
Yeah.
But then like we add facades on the front to cover up the poles. It might look like a pergola if that's our inspiration. We have flooring, things like that. So then we have to have all those finishing details done before we can even bring in dance floors, bars, seating, lounge, lighting, drape. Yeah.
So a 7 to 10 day rental probably.
Yeah, you're probably can you do it faster? Absolutely. But you're going to pay higher labor charges. So it's not going to be any cheaper to do it faster. Yeah. So you might as well just take your time to do it right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then Thursday, Friday, we would normally bring in all of the decor to make it pretty and the HVAC. So as a standard for Cake & Company, we run the HVAC to cool or heat the tent for 3 days prior to an event, because I'm not asking your vendors to set up in a 110 degree tent or in a 30 degree tent. That's just like
not fruitful for anyone.
And plus like florals and stuff.
Totally. And then if we can get that temperature down, we can set flowers the day before if it's cold enough, which is really, really nice.
Totally. And if your tent's inside 120 and you're trying to cool it down to 65 in an hour rather than 3 days, you're setting yourself up for failure too.
Absolutely. I think what makes us different is just like understanding how all of that works. How many tonnage of HVAC is going to need? Where is it going to, is it coming through the floor? Is it coming through the walls? We can do it either way.
Howard to get that.
I saw the one that you did that had like was like cane or some sort of.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Super creative with hiding HVAC.
Yeah. We have a wedding that is coming up in a tent that we're actually going to bring it through the floor finally.
Cool.
Which we're excited to do because it'll heat and cool more like your home.
Yeah.
I think the other thing like that goes into it, we'll tarp the tent off to keep all the heat out of it for as long as possible and then pull that tarp right before. So then you have your party on Saturday and then Sunday we have to clear it out, maybe Monday, and then the tent's going to come down Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. So it's
doable.
It is absolutely.
For the right client. I mean, it is not cheap. How much do you think something like that would cost? Ballpark.
$500,000 probably. I
For
mean,
the full wedding.
Can we do it for less? Probably, but there's going to be some sacrifices because I know what your minimums are here, and now we're asking you not to take business Friday, Saturday, and then you're going to have somebody here while we set up for the 5 days before and the 3 days afterwards. And then there's going to be the cost of the tent, the cost of the HVAC, the cost of the power, and then let's make it pretty. And like, if you're going to go, you might as well go all out. But I think that there's a need in the Midwest because we have a lot of affluent clients that private clubs are just not their thing, Totally. And so they don't belong to a club to pop a tent up, and they might live in the Central West End and it's hard, or in U City and
they can't host it at home. They don't have the yardage.
Yep. Or there's a noise ordinance at 10 o'clock and they don't want it to shut down, or we can't get trucks into their driveway. And so you guys have built the dream scenario for us being able to get that box truck and the semi truck and all of that stuff in here. So it's the number one spot to have a tent in St. Louis.
Well, I hope we can find the perfect client to make it
ready.
happen.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot of money, but someone's out there.
Yeah. We're right here. We're right here. Hi.
And on that note, we'll definitely need a part 2. I didn't even get to half the things that I wanted
Let's
to
do it.
We'll do a part 2.
Amazing. Thanks for having us, Lauren.
Thank you. I love you girls. I was trying to think of the first time or how we even met.
No idea.
I don't know, but we did start our businesses, my photography business, at similar times, I think.
I feel like I've always known you. I know. Really know.
Well, I know the first time we worked together was the Mexico wedding.
Oh, yeah.
That's
for Pam and Rocky.
Yeah.
And that was probably what?
That was 2015, I think. 2016, maybe?
I know. I was in the middle of IVF, so I didn't get to go.
Yeah. But still, like up to the wedding.
Yeah. Beautiful pictures.
And now I do all of Katie's pictures for family.
I know.
Yeah.
So I call you Katie. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's okay. Kimmy calls me Katie too.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but it is her initials, KT.
I know.
And then this is my given name.
It is, and that's how I've known her.
Kate.
She's Kate in front of
Yes,
clients.
I tell all of our clients, which we can talk about this offline, but like having you do the photography for like my kid's first year of life, you make it so easy.
That's all she says. She's like, whenever you're ready, Lauren's your first call, not your family.
Thank you.
Right? I think from like Lauren Muckler Photography, from West Wind Hills, like you clearly understand what luxury clients are looking for. And there's a price to that, right? It's a lot of your time to put together those shoots or to put together this venue or to have a bar with the aesthetics you do or how clean it is to do. All of that stuff costs you time, labor, money to do.
Totally.
But you really understand what couples are looking for.
Well, thank you. And I always say, especially with this business and with my photography business, I don't aim to be the economical choice. I aim to be the best.
Yeah.
And to give you the best service. So high fives.
High fives.
Love you guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.